Yo, what is going on YouTube? It is your boy GZTV, and yeah, we're gonna take a break from TV shows for just a moment to cover a movie. You know, this was kind of a sort of a last second recommendation from my dad. He recommended this, and obviously I've seen a lot about this film critically, and I have a lot of respect for Chris Farley, rest in peace, so I was pretty excited for this movie. We have the 1995 American buddy comedy film directed by Peter Siegel, written by Bonnie and Terry Turner, produced by Lorne Michaels, and starring soon-to-be former Saturday Night Live castmates and close friends Chris Farley and David Spade, two guys that would end up making a huge fucking career for themselves on SNL and, you know, in the comedy world in general. Tommy Boy, we're here with that. I mean, obviously David Spade has been in plenty of movies that I've enjoyed. You know, he was in the Grown Ups franchise a little bit. Hopefully we can review those movies maybe eventually. He was in the Joe Dirt movies and even some animated films like Hotel Transylvania. He's done voiceovers and he's done stuff like that. And this seems to be kind of his standout role, one of his bigger roles in the comedy world. Of course, he was a part of SNL. I was interested in seeing what that looked like for him. My dad referred to this specific scene, by the way, when he was referring to this movie when Tommy ripped Richard's shirt, and when I watched that for the first time, that was fun. That was hilarious. Let's get into it. It was kind of cool to see like my dad's recommendation. By the way, I'm going to say this a couple times throughout the video. This won't be a very long video. This is a pretty simplistic movie, and it honestly rips off of another movie. So without further ado, let's go.
Bad guy in little gold.
Take it off, dickhead. I'm serious.
Richard, what's happening?
So you know how it goes. We get into the premise, we talk about the good, the bad, the okay, give it a rating, give it a review. Let's start with the premise. So after his beloved father, who is Brian Dennehy's character, dies, dim-witted Tommy Callahan, played by Chris Farley, inherits a near-bankrupt automobile parts factory in Sandusky, Ohio. His brand new stepmother, Beverly, played by Bo Derek, wants to cash out and close, but Tommy's sentimental attachment to his father's employees spurs him to make one last-ditch effort to find someone who will buy their products. And it turns into a road trip movie. You can kind of assume that, you can kind of guess that with movies like this. It's a road trip movie, and a lot of the movies of the 80s and the 90s, maybe even some of the early 2000s, were very much road trip movies. That was a sentiment, that was a trope that a lot of movies used. National Lampoon's Vacation, and a movie that we will talk about a lot in this video, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, kind of adopted that sort of thing. So with his father's tightly wound assistant, Richard, played by David Spade, in tow, Tommy hits the road to scare up some new clients. This turns into a Planes, Trains, and Automobiles sort of film, and I feel like during the time those films were made, that concept was pretty successful, and this is just kind of a staple. This is one of the staple movies in that genre. It is an interesting movie for sure. I don't really have much else to say. It's pretty to the point. Like, you have to like fit this loan for the bank, and you got to sell a certain amount of product, or else your company's gonna go out of business, yada yada yada. It's kind of that sort of thing. So let's get into some things. Getting into the good, I mean, this is just a textbook roadie movie. I mean, it does nothing wrong as a road trip movie. The journey to resolution, it's all just storybook. I mean, it's exactly fundamental. It's getting down to the fundamentals of the genre. It does exactly what it's supposed to do for its genre. I obviously liked David Spade's character as like a stern, Squidward kind of type of character who's kind of like a Debbie Downer, kind of a pessimistic person. He's kind of like a smarty pants, but eventually he kind of warms himself up to Chris Farley's character, and that's perfect because, again, these two would eventually go on to become like best friends in sketch comedy. That's awesome. It's legit like a damn near copy and paste of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles with a different premise. So if you want to hear me explore all the tropes, check that video out. I will link it actually in this video. I'll put it up there. Again, this movie does seem like very much a copy and paste of that movie. It's very much like the relationship between John Candy and I think it was Steve Martin. Was that his name? Wow, I actually got that right. I'm a fucking genius. I did like that there were characters plotting on the success of Callahan. I thought that was awesome and kind of a unique twist from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Like, obviously that movie has some people kind of plotting against the characters, but not really like this movie. Like, this movie, they actually have like antagonists going against them, making the trip and making the journey and making already a last-ditch effort, like even more last-ditch effort. It was cool. I mean, I genuinely didn't expect that when they first revealed it at the employee fair, that they were like married to each other. I thought that was a really dope twist to the story. As characters, they were a bit lame, like the two characters that they used, obviously the stepmother and stepbrother, in quotations, of course, and sure, they weren't utilized as much as the movie was sort of hyping them up for, but I still really liked that part of the movie. It's one of the only things that really distinguishes this movie as its own, you know? It really makes it different, it really sets it apart from some of the other movies of its kind. And I think another thing that helped this movie distinguish itself from other films was the emotional weight of the death of the father and Tommy carrying carrying on the legacy. I think a lot more than some of those other movies. I keep saying that. This movie has a lot of emotion to it. It has a lot of like kind of passion behind it. It has like motivation behind it. A lot better motivation. Like you're getting to planes and it's like, oh, we just got to get back for Thanksgiving dinner, was it? Or Christmas or whatever. This one, I got to save my dad's fucking company because he would be proud of me. He would want me to do this. And that's a really like emotional thing. And I really like that they throw it in there. And I mean, as dumb as Tommy looks while doing this, it was somewhat cool to sort of see his character gain some sense and help ink some deals and carry the company forward. And again, just the character development of Tommy Boy was great. I love the conclusion of that and him winning the day, of course, because in movies like this, it's great to see the good guys win. Like we've obviously seen bad guys win in other different genres, but for a movie like this, for Tommy Boy to end up being successful and reviving the company, I think that is pretty fantastic. Sorry if my computer keeps giving me notifications. In the scene with him on the sail and his dad carrying with the wind so he can get home to dinner was pretty wholesome, although it was a bit cheesy. I still really liked it. Again, it added to the emotional weight and just the sentimentalness of the film. I think Michelle was the girl that he was with. In terms of the humor as well, it's a pretty funny movie for sure. It's a funny movie. Like I will say, again, there is goofy comedy, there is corny comedy. It's funny. Some of the humor, yeah, it is immature, but like the scene of Tommy and his girl on the boat and the kids jeering at him, his constant back and forth with Spade's character before they kind of hit it big and, you know, they're kind of insulting each other. And it's awesome because Tommy, you kind of forget he's like a grown-ass man, but he's pretty like conscious of people making fun of him. It's an interesting dynamic for sure. I can get a good look at a T-bone by sticking my head up a bull's ass. I mean, that's hilarious, and that being an iconic line in the film, I mean, all these things stack up. It's a memorable film. Like, I'm not going to forget it. It's great. I mean, this film definitely deserves to be put on a bit of a pedestal for that, but we will get into why a movie like this, as a movie, it's just not as good as some of the other ones we have covered here on the channel. So I think without further ado, we can just get into that. Getting into the bad, honestly, there's nothing inherently bad about this movie. I don't know, there's not really a whole lot impressive about it either. There's gonna be a lot of mixed elements, I'm not gonna lie. That's gonna be one of the bigger sections of the video. I think one thing that made me mad, I don't know if this was like a bad part of the film, but something that kind of made me mad is how they painted Tommy as like this nepotism child when he is literally a college grad and a grown-ass man. Like, why is he gotta be so fucking stupid too? I mean, come on, how else would a guy that took 6 extra semesters get with the girl of his dreams and somehow get a job? I don't know. It was annoying to say the least. It didn't make much sense. He's already kind of a character that I wasn't a huge fan of. Like, he's not my favorite comedy main character. I love Chris Farley, by the way. This is nothing against him as an actor. And to add on, it's like, oh wow, you just get everything fucking handed to you and like everything goes your way. It's like, I don't know. That's kind of annoying. Like, there's definitely some conflict. There's definitely some struggle throughout the movie. I don't know. It's weird. Getting into the okay, the mixed, again, there's a decent amount to say here. I will say this movie is extremely, and I mean extremely unrealistic, and I don't necessarily hate it for that, but it gets to a point. Again, I realize that this is a comedy film. I realize it's a movie in the first place, like movies bend reality all the damn time. But like some idiot college slacker somehow just makes these deals with these proper auto salesmen and just magically revives what I'm assuming is a multi-million-dollar company just straight in the dumps because the founder or the boss dies, and somehow Tommy is the one that's going to revive the company. It really didn't make much sense to me. I don't know. I guess for the sake of the movie and I guess for the sake of like an underdog story, it was kind of cool to see. But again, I like more realistic plot than not, if we're being honest. Maybe that's why comedy isn't my favorite genre, although I still love comedy. I don't really know. They could have made it a little more believable. They could have had some other pieces kind of in there, some other characters maybe. Chris Farley's character definitely didn't help out with that much, considering he was such an idiot that it was almost annoying, like how stupid of a character Chris Farley was. I'm fine with a dumb guy being in comedies. Like, that was a huge thing in the 90s and 2000s, like Step Brothers, Dumb and Dumber. I mean, pretty much everything that like Jim Carrey and Will Ferrell were involved with at that time. I get that, but man, they take it way too far in this movie. They take it even farther in this movie than they did in those ones. I love Chris, but man, what an obnoxious character. And I think this is the first time in a while that I'm mixed on the main character of a comedy film. That's not necessarily a great thing, I'm not gonna lie to you. So kind of getting into the review, pull up the tier list as always. I don't necessarily hate this movie. Like, there's no way for you to hate this movie. I think it's still a decent movie, but why watch this when I could watch so many other road trip films that do the concept and execute it so much better? I mean, it is practically the same exact thing. I don't know, I guess they don't execute it better. It's different stakes, character backgrounds, goals, rules, I guess, that kind of set this apart. Like, it is cool you're trying to revive your dad's business, but there are some inconsistencies in the plot line that even Trains doesn't achieve in terms of bad writing. Again, it's not like they poorly executed this, it's just kind of lazy. It seems like a way for Paramount to make money. It seems like a big, like, Hollywood hit. Like, let's take this big old goofy fat guy and make him like an idiot, make him the next John Candy, because remember, Trains came out 8 years before this movie, so this movie definitely got inspiration from it. I know this will be a short review, by the way, but again, what is there to say about this film that doesn't apply to, you know, the other movie? I don't want to keep mentioning it, but it's out there. I'm gonna go ahead and give this a 6.7 out of 10. I know some people are probably gonna be pretty disappointed in that. I do think it's still a decent movie. Like, that's a decent score on my tier list, but compared to some of the other films, it's been done already, and lack of originality can definitely dock you some points on my tier list, and I think that's exactly what happened here. So with that being said, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. As always, it's been your boy GZTV. Again, sorry if this video is so short, but it's really cool to get back into the movie space and to talk comedy and do all this stuff. Go check out my socials. I just streamed on Kick for like, I don't even know, like 3-4 hours. I'm gonna do that every weekend this summer, and I usually do it every weekend anyway, so go check me out over there. Go check out the other socials. I'm GZTV. I'm out. Peace out, everybody.